Hey, Pat Mcardle back for another episode of Shop Talk. Today, we're going to be looking at the all-electric Ranger XP Kinetic and looking at how that stacks up against the Ranger XP 1000. All right, let's jump into it and talk about some of the things that are similar or almost exactly the same, if not identical, on these two rigs. So when you start off and you look at the chassis of these two machines, they basically ride on the same Ranger XP platform. Size, dimensions, wheelbase, width, height, all that's basically the same across both units. When you look at styling cues, you got the same front bumper, same front headlights. Even on the interior, same steering wheel, same seats. You got a lot of things that are really identical here. They also have same towing capacity at 2,500 pounds on each. And when you think about making this your own and accessorization, over 95% of the accessories that fit on the gas-powered Ranger XP 1000 also fit on the all-electric Ranger XP Kinetic. All right, now we're going to jump into where some of the big differences are between the Ranger XP 1000 and the Ranger XP Kinetic. So we're going to start in the back, work our way to the front, and go the opposite way on the other. So starting in the back, we got a 1,000-pound box capacity on this Ranger. When you look underneath, the most obvious difference, we got a gas engine, we got an intake for that, we got CVT rubber belt style clutches. So kind of what you're used to seeing in the back end of a Ranger here. Now we're going to move on to the center of this thing. If you looked underneath the driver's seat, you'd actually see the gas tank mounted under there. When we look on the inside of this for a shift pattern, we've got a standard Ranger shifter with park, reverse, neutral, low, and high, all the way up on this, this shift handle here. Let's keep going up to the front of this rig. When we talk about styling, we've obviously got a grill that's catered to a gas engine because when we pop it out, you can see the radiator for the liquid cooling here on the front of this Ranger. All right, now let's jump into the things that are different on the Ranger XP Kinetic. Starting off on the front, you can see this awesome new grille, right? Really accentuates the branding in the front. And we don't have to have all the holes because there's no radiator behind it because this thing doesn't have a liquid-cooled gas engine. It's electric. When you look at this accent light in the front, this one's actually really cool. A lot of people don't realize that these segments actually will light up individually and serve as a charge indicator when you're plugged in. So when you're walking across the shop, at a quick glance, you can see, am I almost empty or am I almost full and ready to go? The other thing you'll notice here on the side of the hood, there's actually a decal that's telling you how big your battery packs are. So this is the 29.8 kilowatt hour version. This will go about 80 miles on a full charge. We've also got a version with one battery instead of two, and that's a 45 mile range. So looking at this thing, we've got a different gauge package than what you see on a standard gasser. So you see things like a battery indicator here, along with a battery level. The drive modes between the eco mode, the standard, and the sports. You've got different throttle modes. And then where you look at where a normal tack would be, you actually can see power delivery. So whether you're consuming power up here, or if you're off and you're regenerating power, that needle would actually drop down this way. And then on the center stack here for the ride command side, we actually get a few differences here on what this vehicle can display. Where you're looking at things like a charge indicator, some of the gauging is a little bit different. Again, we've got that, how much power, how much regen you're using. So there's some cool features that are specific to the Ranger XP Kinetic here as well. The other thing that's very different on this Ranger XP Kinetic is the shift pattern. So instead of going park, reverse, neutral, low, and high, this one skips reverse. It just goes park, neutral, low, and high. And then you've got a thumb toggle here for forward and reverse. So it makes it really easy for things like plowing or tight spaces where you're trying to go back and forth without having to shift that handle. You just flip the switch, get off and on the throttle pedal, and away you go. So from a low-speed drivability perspective, this Ranger XP Kinetic is phenomenal. I can't stress that enough. It's also got cool features like regenerative braking. So when you get off the throttle, it's going to help slow you down a little bit before you get your foot over to the brake pedal. All right, now let's jump out and head to the back of this thing. So first thing, starting off, box capacity. We've actually increased that to 1,250 pounds on the Kinetic version versus the 1,000 on the gasser. Now, let's flip this up and show you guys what we got hiding underneath. Boom! Oh wait, you can't see anything. We got covers in the way. Let's get a different Ranger in here so we can actually strip this down and show you where all the goodness is in the back of this XP Kinetic. Woo! All right, let's wander around here quick. Let me show you guys where the actual motor, drive belt, and transmission are on this Ranger electric. So here is the motor right here. It's this thing that looks like a whole bunch of big dinner plates, maybe. I don't know, big cooling fins in the back on the motor here. When we look down, what couples the motor to the transmission is actually this cog drive belt. So unlike the gas model that has a CVT where the belt is actually connecting those two devices and changing the ratio all the time, this is a fixed ratio between the motor and the transmission, the actual gear set that has the high and low in it. And on this one, the motor is actually just changing speeds to be able to change the speed of the vehicle. So the transmission in the back here still has high and low range. It's basically the same gearbox that you'd see on a gas-powered Ranger, but the huge differences here are on the electric motor instead of the gasser. And we're actually modulating the speed of this to be able to drive the input shaft of that transmission with that fixed ratio drive cog belt versus having a CVT that's changing ratio between the gas engine and the transmission all the time. All right, so we've covered off on some of the similarities and differences between the gas and electric powered Rangers. Now, why would you want to buy this one? Super quiet, great low speed drivability, can change directions at the flick of a switch. You're not going to scare your prey while you're out on a hunt, not worrying about animals getting spooked because you're just going to be silent creeping around the property. Got plenty of range to make it around for a day, lower carbon footprint. Overall, this is one of the best Rangers that we have ever built. Frankly, these things are super fun to drive. They're really smooth. Anybody can jump in, you know, turn the key, shift it into gear, push the pedal, and away you go. And it's super controllable. And it'll actually probably surprise a lot of you on how fast it can throw you back in the seat if you're in high gear and you get into that skinny pedal. So for guys like me that want a little thrill while you ride, you got the ability to go slow, but you still got the ability to go fast. You know, on the next episode of Shop Talk, we're going to dive in and talk about a little more depth on what some of the components actually do and how the power is, you know, going from the wall to the batteries to the wheels on this rig. So stay tuned for that, and be sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you want to see on future episodes of Shop Talk.